Well, hello. Thank you for joining M&M Business Solutions. I'm Marshie Morgan, your guest host. Um, what I'd like to talk about today is how important it is to have a plan. If you don't have a plan of action, it makes it difficult for us to reach our goals, dreams for our business. I'm going to go back to the koi pond because I actually put the fish in this morning, the koi, and they're swimming around and they're very, very happy. And I don't know if you can see it or not. I will try to make it over here so you can actually see the koi pond. But again, for some reason, I can't make it work. How do I get it to work? See, you're supposed to have a plan. See, you would have already had figured this out by the time. I mean, you can see the house, but that's not. Can you see that? Wow. I would think you just see a tree. Maybe you can see the koi pond. The fish are still kind of hiding over by the flowers, but anyway, might be too noisy now. I'm not sure. So let's get back to your scheduled programming. Okay, like I said, I'm still learning how to use YouTube, and I guess we're on what, 2 weeks now, maybe our third week of joining each other. So I'm going to use the example of the koi pond for why it's important to have a plan. As you already may be aware, I have taken a year to put this koi pond together. I live out in the country, and the ground is full of rock. So you can't really dig a koi pond out. But I really, really wanted one. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And I was like racking my brain going, okay, I've got to figure this out. And because I really wanted one, I needed a water source. And what I ended up doing is I got a stock tank, 1,200 gallon. Now, that's a little small for a koi pond. However, uh, I made do with what I could find. I found the largest koi stock tank I could find, which is a 10 by 10. And I got online and I was like, okay, everything was like 8 by 8. I could have bought something here in town, but it was like an 8 by 6 or something. And I was like, no, I've got to have the water per gallon. That was a big, big component. Also, I had to make sure that I took care of zoning, that I wouldn't have to have a fence or anything like that because it's a huge water source. But because it's not over 2 feet high, I was able to get away with it. So I was very happy about that. Um, so there was I found only one company, one, that had this 10 by 10 stock tank. And I was like, wow, it's 1,200 gallons. That's the biggest they make. And I'm like, okay, where do I have to go? And they're like, we're in Texas. I was like, oh, hallelujah. So then I was like, Texas is a big state. And the closest one was 3 hours away. This Gibos. I can't say enough about Gibos Hardware in Hillsboro, Texas. Yay! Thanks, everybody. Because I would call and say, are you sure? Well, they didn't have it. The other Gibos did, but they only get their order once a month. See why this is planning? And then the electric. I could have hardwired it, and it would have been a lot easier, but I wanted to be able to turn the switches on and off inside the house. So I had to plan how many electrical outlets. I had to plan the water source and the plumbing. I had to plan how I was going to put these fish and integrate them because I really don't want it. I don't really like using chemicals in my aquariums and things. So I started my bog plants months ago. Then After I got those established, I got a couple more and I got a kiddie pool. Well, then in that kiddie pool, I put the bog plants and I got some feeder fish, 15 cents. So I was like, okay, we'll see if these live. And if these live, then we're on the right track. Well, then, the problem with this stock tank being 10 by 10 is, oh, how are we going to get it down the freeway? So we actually had to go down frontage road. Also, due to agriculture, uh, farming, I was able to uh, get the stock tank. And, you know, my uncle, luckily, he's a professional truck driver. And he just brought the regular truck with a little pull behind trailer. And we get there and he's like, this isn't going to work. And he's like, we almost have to go back home, which he lives an hour and a half away from me. So we had met in a central location. He's like, we're going to have to go back and go get the big truck. And I was like, oh, I'm sure you can figure it out. I'm sure you can figure it out. So then we had to go to the lumber yard. Then we had to tie it down and all this. And so it was overextended. I mean, this is extra wide on the freeway. So we took the back roads. And then from Belton all the way through Georgetown, we took the frontage road of I-35. So we're going 45 miles an hour. It took all day. But luckily, he was helpful and he got it here all in one piece. And then, before I even did that, I had it outlined how large a 10 by 10 square would be. And so it went right into that square and life was good. Luckily, I didn't have to level it or bring in gravel. So that was really good. Then, my good one of my clients gave me a swimming pool filter. So then I had to figure out how to use that and the plumbing associated with that. And my good friend CD, hey CD, love ya, couldn't figure out, I'm like, okay, you do electric, you do plumbing, you do all that. And he's like, will you just listen to me? And so it's hard to let go sometimes. That's another topic for another day. But anyway, yesterday we were able to get the fountain going. We got the filter going. But this morning I actually put the koi in. Now, my point about having a plan. You see all these moving parts? Well, this all could have been avoided. Probably could have saved myself over $1,000 if I would have started out right. See, I went to the store, the pet store, and I bought a koi. I bought two because they were $3.49 a piece. And I thought, oh, that'll look really cute in my aquarium. Little did I know they get to be 2 feet long or longer. Okay. So I went through 3 aquariums with the help of CD helping me, get a bigger aquarium. And I was like, dude, if I'm going to keep these fish, I've got to get a big tank. So this is how it all began, was not having a plan. I started one thing without thinking it all the way through. And so my point is several. Number 1, if you're going to buy koi fish, make sure that you're able to afford them and that you have a good home for them that's big enough for them, because they get big. Oh, and they live to be 50 years. 50 years old or more. So understand that koi fish are not for your indoor aquarium. You can start them there, but within a year, you have to get them into a proper environment, because they grow about 3 to 4 inches every spring and summer. Okay, the second thing is do your research. Okay, do your research. Now, you might say, well, how does this apply to my business? What has this got to do with my business? Just everything. It's kind of like the YouTube videos. If I'm going to make you YouTube videos, do you think I need to know how to do it? Yeah. Okay, well, how am I going to do that? I'm going to have to learn. I'm going to have to get online. I'm going to have to just actually turn on the camera. If you watch the very humbling experience video, you go, oh wow, she's kind of come far, but not really because I still can't see her very well. But my point being is everything regarding your business, you have to have a plan of action. And I'll talk about that in part 2. Plan of action. Thank you.